Hear these words from 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verses 10 through 16. Then David blessed the Lord in the presence of all the assembly. David said, "Blessed are you, O Lord, the God of our ancestor Israel, forever and ever. Yours, O Lord, are the greatness, the power, the glory, the victory, and the majesty. For all that is in the heavens and on the earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom, O Lord, and you are exalted as head above all. Riches and honor come from you, and you rule over all. In your hand are power and might, and it is in your hand to make great and to give strength to all. And now, our God, we give thanks to you and praise your glorious name. But who am I, and what is my people, that we should be able to make this free will offering? For all things come from you, and of your own have we given you." It's the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. We hear this idea of hospitality all the time, don't we? We hear this when we're looking for a place to stay, a hotel, a place that might leave the light on for us. Or sometimes we hear this idea of hospitality in seeking a restaurant, a place that makes you feel like your family, a place that leaves a chair open for you at the dinner table. Sometimes we even hear this idea of hospitality being referred to regions. I'm sure many of us who have been to the South have heard of the idea of Southern hospitality. I've even heard that term used for the state of Indiana, that Hoosier hospitality, even though I'm not quite sure where that area is. We're continuing the sermon today in the sermon series of practicing one of the five practices of a fruitful congregation. Last week we were called to action, but this week we begin what those actions are. Because first you need to know what you were called to do to be a fruitful congregation. It seems like a simple enough idea, right? Being hospitable, being kind to others, welcoming others. And I think we all know something about receiving hospitality. But what does that actually mean, to give hospitality? Well, hospitality literally means cordial and generous reception of guests, and kindness in welcoming strangers or guests. But if we dig a little deeper in what it means to be hospitable people, we may find that it means something else than just welcoming others to our place of worship or into our homes or into our lives. So I'd like to share with you today 3 ways that we can reclaim and renew this idea of hospitality for our congregation here. The first idea is hospitality as welcoming and inviting others. Secondly, hospitality is sharing genuine love for others. And third, hospitality as respecting or reverencing the unique dignity of each person. I'm reminded of a story of when I was able to go to Japan and Korea with my seminary recently, just a few months ago actually. The church that we stayed at, Bupyeong Methodist Church in Incheon, South Korea, was an amazing church. They were a church that had around 8,000 in membership, which is what we found out is small in Korean standards. We actually went to the largest church in the world that weekend in Korea, the Yodo Full Gospel Church, which has 830,000 members and 800 pastors, compared to Bupyeong's 8,000. Bupyeong Church is a church full of hope, full of energy, and it has a vision for what the future should be for this congregation. A large number of the members attend an early morning prayer service every morning at 6 a.m. just to come and worship together and to pray together. Their worship is vibrant, it's full of energy, and is full of inspiration. They know how to truly worship God. This church is full of hospitality and a vision for what that hospitality means for their church. This church has built a 5-star hotel, at least in my opinion, it's a 5-star hotel, for those who come to visit Korea. For they want to give love to everyone that comes through their doors. Now, I'm not implying here that this church should build a 5-star hotel and house those from other countries, but it's such a wonderful thing that this church has done for those who come to visit. The church members showered us with gifts. They cooked for us. They spent time with us. They made sure that we felt welcome. And they were a hospitable church with a vision of that hospitality. And they made us made us feel so welcome in their church. During our stay, we continue to think about the verse that we read today from 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 14, which states, "But who am I and who are my people, that we should be able to give as generously as this?" We continue to think about this verse while we were there. We thought about how could they give and love as much as they did to us? And how could we respond to that love, to that hospitality? The only thing that we could come up with was to pass that love on, was to pass the love of God that they showed us to those in our hometown, in our home state, and in our home conference. When we arrived at the church, at Bupyeong Methodist Church, we were greeted with such a warm welcome. We were greeted by church members who lined the bus and who clapped for us as we got off the bus that day. As we got off the bus, those people there welcoming us saying, "Annyeonghaseyo," or hello in Korean. They gave us an Incheon rose, which is the flower of the city of Incheon. They made us feel like celebrities. They made us feel almost like royalty as we got off that bus. They welcomed us and treated us as Christ himself. Not as representatives of this seminary, Methodist Theological Seminary, or of representatives of Christ, but they treated us like Christ himself. We learned much about the Korean and Japanese culture during our trip, but we also learned something about what hospitality truly means. For hospitality is all about giving up our comfort zones. It's all about giving up our sense of security and going out on a limb to serve and to give to others. What is it that we could do in this church more of? To invite others and to welcome others. Well, maybe we could spend a little extra time talking to a new person, or even a person we don't know that well that's been in this church for a long time. So before we head home after this service or after the next service that we attend, maybe we could spend just a little extra time getting to know the person next to us. Or maybe we can invite someone to a baseball game, or maybe to dinner, just to get to know them a little more. Or my preference would be both. Or maybe we can invite people at work or school to church. Or maybe a church event. But whatever we do, we have to remember that we are called to welcome others. We are called to welcome others with open arms and extend an invitation whenever an opportunity may present itself. But we are called to welcome and invite others always. My second thought is that hospitality is genuine love for others, is having genuine love for others and showing that. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to visit the Abbey of St. Minor, which is a Benedictine monastery in southern Indiana. Well, maybe that's where that Hoosier hospitality may be, in southern Indiana. We can ask Pastor Russ after the service. But the Benedictines, which is an order of monks in the Roman Catholic tradition, they're known for two things. They're known for Gregorian chanting, the haunting yet beautiful chant of the monks. And secondly, they're known for their radical hospitality. They welcomed me with open arms to this monastery, regardless of my denominational affiliation or my intent to become a married Protestant pastor at one point. They opened me with welcome arms to their worship services, to their prayer services, and they treated me just like a brother. They appreciated me, and they showed me genuine love. The Rule of St. Benedict, which is the rule book, kind of like our book of discipline, except they strictly follow their book, has a quote in there that they have to follow and abide by. And this quote says, "All guests who present themselves are to be welcomed as Christ, for he will say, 'I was a stranger and you welcomed me.